And I think we're live. Hi. Yes, we are. Amazing. Okay, so this is going to be the very first live stream titled Letter to Nis. This is where you can, if you want to, send me an email with the subject Letter to Nis and just write about your circumstance, write about your issue, your problem, what you're struggling with. And let me adjust this a little bit because you're seeing like my floor and it's not looking so great. And I then pick a letter each month to make a live stream, to read that email/letter to you, and essentially help you, essentially coach you live for everybody, right? So, as you can deduce from the thumbnail of this live stream and also the title, we're going to talk about obsessive thoughts surrounding your romantic interest or surrounding a specific person, surrounding your ex that you're trying to manifest back, surrounding a specific person that you've not been in a relationship with, and so on. And the letter I've gotten was from, now it's gone, great, thank you, email, was from Andrea. And once I find it again, I will read it to you. There it is. Okay, so Andrea says, "Hi, Nis. I was a previous client long ago. 3 exclamation marks. I saw your post on asking a question, you potentially answering it in the video. Yep, that's exactly what I'm doing here. I'm still in the process of manifesting the same specific person. So the same one that we already talked about during coaching, which was about 2 years ago, I think. Around that time, 1.5 years, 2 years ago. So Andrea says, I have found that I have finally started thinking more positively towards my specific person, and the new story is way more believable. However, I feel I'm still quite anxiously attached and dependent on him coming back. I expect it, but I get frustrated when I don't see movement. Oh yeah, we've all been there, done that, right? How do I release the attachment and just live my life without obsessively thinking thoughts about the specific person, even if they are good thoughts? I've read a lot recently that coaches say when you genuinely don't need your SP anymore is when they come back in. That is a bold statement that some people are making. We're going to talk about it. But I can't process this fear. Maybe I'm sabotaging myself in fear of getting it and losing it again, question mark. Thanks so much. Okay, so there are a few points in this rather short email that I want to talk about. And in this case, because we did coaching together in the past, I do have more insight on the situation. So I was able to go back over our work together. I reread our emails and refreshed my brain a little bit about your current situation, essentially what you're doing and why you're there. I just want to say to anybody else who wants to participate in this, if you want to send me a letter as well and you want me to talk about this in a live stream format, do not be shy in giving me a few more details on the situation, what you're currently doing, what you've experienced, and so on. I don't need your full life story by any means, and you don't have to send me a massive, gigantic novel of an email either, but not everybody has a history of working with me. So this was a lucky case where I could go back and read everything and really get the full picture and all the, like, just add more substance to the question itself, right? But if you did not have this past with me, if you just want to be like, okay, I have an issue in this, please make this video about this, then don't be shy in giving me more details, because then I'm actually capable of really tailoring this video towards your specific needs, right? And then, of course, also extending this for anybody else who is in a similar situation or struggles with something alike, right? So I will go a little bit more into the specifics of Andrea's situation without giving anything private away. And now Peppy is peeing in a litter box next to me. So it's going to be a little bit loud, potentially. Peppy, do you have to? We have 5 more litter boxes. I just love how Peppy's always around when I'm doing anything with YouTube. She's like, I have to be in the video. If I cannot be there physically, I will sit next to you and just pee and be loud. Okay. Good. Let's not. No, come on. Let's not overdo this here. You're cute. I love you. Okay. So I will give you a little bit more background details on Andrea's situation and past with the specific person without giving away anything that she would not want me to give away. So I'm gonna respect your privacy, right? Can you at least hurry up, Peppy? It's so loud. Oh my God. Push it. Pee and then move. I do believe that she's doing it on purpose for the attention. Move on. Come on. I love you. Okay. The first thing, however, that I want to talk about is how the brain actually makes this connection, this attachment to that specific person in first place. Because in order to... How loud is it for you guys? Like, how much of a disturbance is Peppy being right now? I mean, it's the beauty, but it's also the annoying part of a live stream. I cannot cut this out right now. Just, you know what? I have coffee here. I'm going to take a sip. Jesus. Peppy. She's actually taking a poop. It's getting better. Okay. This is me wanting to be professional live. Yeah, it's not working. Okay, yeah, good job. You're done. Yeah, you buried it perfectly. It's awesome. Stop. Please go now. Oh my God. Okay. So I'm probably gonna edit this part out after the live stream is posted so that other people who stumble across this do not have to endure what we are currently enduring here. Okay, good job. Now, remove yourself. Thank you. Amazing. Okay, Jesus. Now, again, the first thing I want to explain to you is how the brain gets this attachment to this person in first place, and that will help you understand why these thoughts around the person are coming. And thoughts can be obsessive, as Andrea herself is realizing right now. They can be obsessive when they are negative, but they can also be obsessive when they are positive, right? And in both ways, both extremes of the spectrum, if it is an obsessive thought, it will limit your freedom of movement and focusing on purpose in your normal life. So it will restrict you somehow, and it's like you're constantly carrying around another person or another thing. We can also get obsessed with things, right? Not just with people, but you're constantly carrying this around with you, and you're never actually really just on your own, being your own person, living the way you want to live and focusing upon other things, because life has more to offer than just romantic relationships, right? They are nice, they are enjoyable and awesome and very, very valuable, but there are also other things that we want to focus on. So the first thing that we need to understand is how the brain really creates attachments. And this is quite easily explainable when we look into dreams. Because even though the thoughts may occur in your brain or in your mind as a form of a question, I wonder what he or she is doing. I want to kind of look like, I want to look at them, you know, I want to maybe stalk a little bit, or I haven't checked in on them for a while, or are they with somebody else? Do they think of me? Like, you get all of these questions, these sentences. This is actually just a translation of your mind. The actual thing behind all of this is, in fact, a picture. Our brain always thinks in pictures, and dreams show us this very, very clearly. So we have a dream of a house, for instance. We're dreaming that a house is under attack or somebody is trying to break into our house, right? This is experienced as a dream of a house, but the house is just a picture placeholder for the self. It is the symbolism of our mind that we have attached to it due to experiencing it. Another example would be we dream about dinosaurs. And we have, I don't know, maybe we fight the dinosaur, maybe we try to preserve them, maybe we try to help them, maybe we kill a dinosaur or we get eaten by a dinosaur, right? The actual meaning behind that is our past. So the dinosaur, the T-Rex, or whatever you dream about, is actually the picture placeholder symbolism of your past. When I personally have a really good run in life, when I really feel, yeah, life is doing amazing, I have a tendency to dream about riding a white horse without a saddle, without reins, just galloping through the forest and stuff. I have this personal, unique attachment to this picture, to this dream, to this idea, because I own a white horse and I've actually experienced this riding without a saddle, without reins, galloping through the woods and stuff like that myself. So the feeling of freedom is connected to the picture of my white horse, right? Even though it's not always obvious that this is my specific horse, Donna, when I'm dreaming about it, but it will show up as a white horse and me galloping through the wilderness, because it's the symbolism of me feeling really good and really free and really in charge of myself. On the flip side, when I have struggles in life, when something is happening that I feel overwhelmed with and it's kind of like out of my control, out of my direct influence on how this situation is going to play out, I have a tendency to dream about driving a really shitty car. Like I want to give gas, but it's not working. Or I sometimes dream like I'm driving the car from the back seat, however the hell that is possible. But in my dream, it is possible, right? And we attach these pictures to these meanings because we grew up attaching these pictures with these meanings. So in the case of dinosaurs, for instance, everybody who grew up with the knowledge of dinosaurs has learned that dinosaurs is a past. They used to exist, but they do not exist anymore. It is over. And we know this. I have dreamed about all kinds of dinosaurs and all kinds of situations with dinosaurs. And it took me a little while to understand why. I thought it's just because when I was a child, I used to love dinosaurs. I had the dolls. I watched the movies. I was a little bit obsessed with dinosaurs, right? But in factual reality of my brain, of the connections in my brain, I have learned to appreciate something that no longer is. They don't exist anymore, even though we have some really weird old birds and reptiles and sea creatures that could be attached to those dinosaurs. We do not live in an environment where we have a T-Rex anymore, right? Thank freaking God. So this is how we start over the life, or over the living the experience of our own life. We attach feelings, situations, and emotional and mental states of ourselves to specific pictures. Another very simple example would be when you're really hungry and you're craving something good, you have an immediate picture for this, right? You feel like, oh yeah, I'm hungry, I kind of need something. Maybe you even have a connection there where you have a picture attached to comfort food like mac and cheese or chocolate and stuff like that, right? So whenever you feel a little bit deprived of good emotions, of dopamine and nice juices in your brain, you have a tendency to crave chocolate. And it comes because you have identified in your past experience that when I feel crappy, but then I go eat chocolate, it makes me feel better. So your brain offers the picture or the questions around or the craving for chocolate as a solution, a remedy for the state of being hungry and maybe being a little bit disappointed or feeling a little bit down, right? And the same happens when we're talking about a romantic interest, when we're talking about love, because the feeling of romantic love also gets attached to the picture of a specific person. When you were really, really young in the beginning of your life, that person is potentially your mother. So, as a small child, Given that you actually had a mother, I know not everybody grew up with a mother, but I'm going to talk about the majority, what's common here. Given that you actually had a mother while you were growing up, this picture of your mother meant for you safety, love, security, understanding, comfort, and your brain saw it as your mom. So when you started being capable of expressing yourself, toddler age, for instance, when you start saying your first words, whenever something bad, negative happened to you, or something that overwhelmed you as a toddler, you wanted your mother. You were looking for the remedy of your mother. And sometimes, it was in my case definitely like that, sometimes when you, for instance, ran and fell and something bad happened to you, something that was a shock for your little system there, and then your dad comes in and tries to comfort you and hugs you and whatnot, you push him away and say, I want mama. It's something that I did. That's also something that I've seen often, especially back in the days when I traveled a lot when I was on airports a lot. I've seen it so many times that the dad tried to, I don't know, help the child who just fell, be like, you're a good little boy, everything is fine. But the child, the little boy, was still standing there crying incredibly loud and crying for his mama, because this is how the brain connected this feeling of security, safety, love, care, nurturing, right? And when we grow older, we start developing crushes on people. So the idea of love and motherly love gets replaced somewhat by the idea of romantic love, or the romantic love gets added into this. Attraction is a big thing. When we develop our type in the either same or opposite sex when it comes to romantic love, and we start developing our type due to, again, experiencing different types of people with different looks, different hair, different body shapes and whatnot, different styles, right? When we start doing this, we kind of zoom into what we would like, what we believe based on our experience would provide for us the feelings of love, attraction, romance, intimacy, safety, and so on. And then we meet a person and we fall in love with them. At this moment, our brain attaches this specific image of this specific person to all of these emotions. When we then have a moment of, I'm not feeling so good, maybe I had a shitty day at work, maybe I had a shitty situation with a friend of mine, there was something that I didn't like, we want to share this with somebody, and our brain immediately suggests to us the remedy of going to that person. It also happens in friendships. It's exactly the same. Something scandalous is happening, you immediately think about a very specific person, most likely your best friend, who you want to call now and discuss this with, right? So this is how the brain functions. And this is a very normal thing. And in healthy relationships, when both parties are healthy and healed and stable and don't have massive issues and they are not in a toxic dynamic with one another, this is actually very beneficial, because this is what drives us to one another. This drives us to get close and intimate and get connected. It's only getting problematic when the picture that we have assigned to have this meaning does not actually match the reality of that person. Peppy is really in it for me today. Like she's like, yep, I cannot sit on your desk because Beanie is sitting next to me. I will be very loud in the background. Amazing. Anyways, when we experience disappointment in the love sector, our brain still has this person attached to these feelings, especially when it's somebody that we have already experienced some kind of relationship, intimacy, connection, right? It can also happen, mind you, this would be part of the category of limerence and love addiction. It can also happen due to simply daydreaming about somebody that you've never actually been in a commitment with or in any way, shape, or form close with, right? This can happen towards famous people as well, because you fantasize about the idea of being with them. It feels really good. You feel really loved and really yeah, that's it, and attracted and validated and all of this good stuff. And you connect it to the picture of a celebrity. That happens a lot. This is why a lot of celebrities have a shitload of stalkers and crazy obsessed people, right? It's really just problematic when this person cannot actually fulfill the expectations. So when you are craving love, but the person that you have assigned the task to give you this love does not actually provide it anymore, right? This is when it becomes a big problem for us because we are constantly lacking those feelings. We are constantly experiencing the opposite. So we experience anxiety, we experience low self-esteem, we experience being overwhelmed, we experience loneliness, all of these things. We experience a very negative ball of very uncomfortable emotions, and our brain suggests to us as remedy the specific person, Timothy, Jeremy, Margaret, whoever it is, right? And your brain literally tells you, yo, we are lacking love. We are lacking validation. We are lacking comfort. We are lacking an aligned laptop. We are lacking gratification. We are lacking fun. We are lacking connection. We are lacking intimacy. We are lacking all of these things. This is what your brain is actually sensing here. Oh shit, we have a lack of all of these things. Now we need to do something. And now the image of this specific person that is assigned with these fulfilled emotions pops up in your brain, and you get hit by obsessive thoughts over them for the sake of feeling this love. Because even if this person is not able to give you that, because maybe you broke up, maybe they live somewhere else, maybe they are a celebrity and have no idea that you even exist, right? Or maybe because they are just incapable, because they have their own wounds and shit and stuff going on, and they are just really authentically incapable of giving you what you need. When this happens and we have the idea of, I wonder what they're doing, let me consume something of them, which can either be stalking them on social media, it can be if it's a celebrity or if it's somebody who is somewhere out there, it can be watching content, it can be overly watching interviews, it can also be getting obsessed with tarot card readings. Because if you have zero, let's say you are in a situation where the person has blocked you, you're broken up, right? You feel crappy, you feel a massive lack of love, you feel very low self-esteem, you feel a lack of worthiness, you struggle tremendously with yourself, and this person has completely blocked off any access that you may ever had towards them. At the very least, you can connect to them via a tarot card reading that then gives you validation and comfort. And yeah, of course they love you, and this other girl that they're with, that's just a third party, like there's no love there whatsoever, it's like has nothing to do, you are the actual soulmate love of their life, blah blah blah. So you find these other things to do to give you at least a little bit of that, because your brain will start feeling a little tiny bit of dopamine and satisfaction by doing these things, even when you stalk them and you realize nothing has changed. We have not talked for 3 months. I have not checked up on them in 3 months. And now 3 months have passed. I feel a lack of love, a lack of connection, blah, 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 all these things that I mentioned earlier. I feel all of this. So now I am driven to think about them. I'm driven to go check on them. And I realize there's nothing new. There's no new story, no new picture, no new video, no nothing. There's like nothing, but you still got to see this. You still got to see the old, you still got to see the picture, even if it was just their freaking profile picture. Or sometimes you go through old messages and reread them, right? Or if you have none of this stuff available to you, you then start daydreaming and fantasizing about them. And this is a thing that is the line between manifesting a specific person on purpose and doing incredibly unfavorable, toxic, harmful things to yourself is so freakishly schmöll and thin and so hard to see sometimes. It is the easiest thing in the universe to go from, okay, I'm going to work on myself, on my mindset, on my self-concept for the sake of improving, but I also want this person, so I will also have a few little thoughts that are positive, the news story essentially around them that I direct towards them. I will enjoy them for a little bit, and then I move on with myself to go from that to falling into obsessive behavior. And if you have not learned how to give these feelings or the satisfaction of actually satisfying these feelings and needs for yourself, if you have actually not yet figured out how to love myself, how to validate myself, how to connect to myself, how to be there for myself, right? How to enjoy myself, have fun with myself. If you have not figured out how to do this, how this specifically looks like for you, you will then start using these manifestation techniques for the sake of getting this feeling achieved. Does this make sense to you? This is why you can sometimes obsess in a seemingly positive manner towards that specific person, right? This is what happened to Andrea. This is what she expressed. Even the positive thoughts are just kind of almost intrusive. They just come. I am obsessed with them. I just cannot fucking stop thinking about this dude, right? And this is really knowing all of this, knowing that what's actually going on in your brain, knowing that you have somewhat deliberately, but also accidentally assigned these feelings, these meanings to that person, and knowing that when this person pop-ups in your brain is actually telling you, hey, whoa, warning signal, woo, we are lacking all of this right now, okay, you're doing something wrong here, you're doing something that is not fulfilling to you, you're doing something that's making you feel lonely and disconnected and shitty and whatnot. When you understand this, it becomes a lot easier to handle the situation, to really be like, whoa, okay, I'm getting like thoughts and impulses to do something, to reach out to them, to text them, to stalk them, to, I don't know, show up at their work if you're full-blown crazy mode, right? When you get these impulses and you know that this is actually just your brain telling you, we are doing something right now that leaves us unfulfilled, then you can actively decide to not do that, but do something that is actually fulfilling to you instead. What that is, what that looks like, how you specifically, individually need to love yourself, the actions you need to take, the mindset that you need to have. This is uniquely for you. And the best way to figure out how to do this is by simply bluntly asking yourself, what the hell do I like doing? What do I enjoy? And make a long ass list of all the little things that you enjoy doing. This is how you can tend to your inner child and to your inner adult and to all the inner parts of yourself. And I shit you not, I have those lists, and I even have writing lists on my list that I wrote because it's kind of fun for me to list things. I don't know why. I just enjoy doing it, right? So really asking yourself, what do I authentically like doing because it is fun, because I enjoy doing this. This can be I'm doing my nails. I don't know, I'm splurging on cosmetics. I am going to get a massage. I am taking care of my skin. I plop on a little face mask once a day or stuff like that, right? It can also be a hobby. It can be a sport. It can be anything. Oh God, my list is so freakishly long. Even stuff like taking pictures of my cats is on that list, right? So when you have these thoughts, these obsessive thoughts about the specific person, you can, instead of giving in or hating on yourself and beating yourself up and judging yourself in an unfavorable way, thinking that you are the victim of your own thoughts. No, you're not. They are your thoughts. You have control over what you're focusing on, and you have control over what you're thinking on, right? But when you get these thoughts and you feel like that, you realize, hold on. This is just my body telling me I'm lacking love, connection, all of these things, whatever it is that you have assigned to this person. I personally had excitement strongly attached to mine. right? So whenever I felt this lack, it usually came when I was bored. I would feel a lack, I would feel bored, I don't really know what to do, and then boom, thoughts would swoop in. I wonder what Timothy is doing. Haven't talked to Timothy in a while. I hope he's not hooking up with somebody else, right? They would also come in. And that only stopped completely when I became aware of this, when I was like, oh, I'm bored. And that's why the stuff is coming. It's the same with the comfort food. It's the same with just food in general, honestly. When you are hungry, your body signalizes that. You feel the hunger, right? You feel the lack of sustenance in your body. You literally feel hungry. You have other sensations and symptoms. You start thinking about food, contemplating what I could eat or order, or how do I get the food, or am I actually in the mood for cooking? I don't really know, right? Your thoughts start evolving around the topic of food because your body legit is hungry, your stomach legit is empty, your body needs new nutrients, signalizes that, and then your thoughts go around this. And then when you're too lazy, like I usually am, when you're too lazy to immediately go and find something to eat, and instead you're sitting on the couch and scrolling through Instagram, that's what I usually do, and then you start seeing pictures of food, it triggers it even more. And then you like, look at this, and you contemplate, I could make this soup or this dish or whatever, right? So this is exactly the same thing that happens. But you would never really, unless you struggle with any kind of ED, you would never really beat yourself up for having thoughts around food. The only difference between the food and the specific person is that the food will actually most likely be able to satisfy you unless you don't know how to cook, right? Or you're ordering from a shitty restaurant. But the thing is, you feel the lack of food, of sustenance. Your brain starts giving you thoughts around the subject of eating. You start contemplating it, you start thinking about it, you're super aware of it. Oh my God, I want food. And then when you get the food and you eat it, the lack is gone. So you're done. You're like, okay. And then your brain stops thinking about food. Right after you had food and you're full and you're satisfied, the last thing you're going to think about is what you're going to eat next. Really, it's gone. It's out of your system. But the problem with the freaking specific person is that going there is not giving you the full satisfaction. Again, it gives you a little bit, a little kick, a little, again, I'm going to consume a little bit of what I can. But unless you are in a relationship with them, unless you do have this access, and unless they are actually capable of giving you all of these things, you're not going to be satisfied. And this is why it just keeps on, and you spiral and spiral and spiral. And you can live like that for days, for weeks, for months, and even for years. You can live starved of love and starved of intimacy and connection and all of these things, constantly being tortured by these obsessive thoughts about that person, and just go on living. Right? You can do this, and sometimes it manifests in a way where you end up getting sick, you end up getting ill, and usually it leads over into other areas of your life. So you really need to understand that this is what is happening, and that when this feeling comes, having this list handy where you can just be like, whoa, okay, I'm obsessing over my SP. Okay, wait, what I actually need right now is to feel good. What the hell can I do now to feel good? Let me look at my freaking list. Right, read that list and see which of these things are actually really attractive for you right now, and what can you actually right now do. I also have stuff on my list that I cannot do 24/7 every single day because it depends on other people, or depends on a certain time of day or a specific day in the week, right? But there is always something that you can do to really snap out of it and satisfy this feeling of I need the love, I need this. And once you start satisfying these lacking emotions with yourself by doing something for yourself, right? Sometimes it's just taking a bath that can do freaking wonders, right? When you start doing this, the obsessive thoughts slowly fade away, because you are satisfying yourself. It's the same with the food, right? Once you are satisfied, the last thing you're going to do is think about what you're going to eat next. So when you are satisfied in all of these emotions, the last thing you're going to do is give a shit about your person, like for real, right? So this is super important. What is also important to know is that there have been many pictures of many specific people attached to you and to your sensation of love and stability and whatnot before that specific person. They are just the newest addition. And most of the times, they lack an update. Most of the times, this is just the most recent person that you felt like this with once in the past, kind of dinosaur style, you know? This happens when we have a relationship that used to be really awesome in the beginning, but then we realized, oh shit, we're actually dealing with a narcissist. Whoops, right? And then we break up or we get dumped. It's not so nice, but hey, it happens. So when we have we have, I don't know, 6 months of experience, let's call it that, with that specific person. And out of these 6 months, we maybe had 3 days that were actually good. And then after these 3 days, those 3 days were enough for us because we were unhealed back then. We didn't really know better, right? Those 3 days were absolutely enough for our brain to be like, awesome, new picture for these emotions. Fantastic. I'm going to attach my ass to this person forever, right? And then the rest of those 6 months have been shit, a complete shit show. Disappointment, heartbreak, fear, not trusting the person, constantly being on edge, constantly being like, I don't know, I cannot trust them, right? All of these things. But we don't even realize in the moment of feeling the lack that this person has been a complete shit show. We only attach to the most recent picture that we experienced this with once, not to the updated version. So we need to understand, before it was that specific person, there were other specific people, right? This picture can be updated. This picture can be changed. And I can, if I choose to do that, it's really your free will to do that. I can totally update this picture and reconnect. I can reconnect all of these feelings, and this is what self-concept work is about. I can reconnect the satisfaction of these feelings and these needs and these damn picture. I can put my own little face in that picture. So I can learn to do this. I can do this, right? And I can also rewire the connection and rewrite the meaning of that person in my life. So if I legit had 3 days of paradise and utopia with that person, but then followed by 6 months of nothing but ghosting and a shit show of really bad emotions and being disappointed, being cheated on, being lied to, not being respected, and all of these things, right? If I had that, all I need to do is to start attaching the negative emotions with that person. I know it totally goes against the whole love my asshole bullshit out there. And it also goes a little bit against conscious creation, because on the one hand, you say you want that person, but on the other hand, now you're telling me I need to attach a negative story. And Andrea has worked so hard to create a positive story around that person, right? And now, Nis, you're telling me I need to see the bad stuff. Yes, I tell you this because unless you accept the fact that this relationship is over, you have no chance of manifesting a new relationship, either with somebody new or with that person. I'm going to explain this a little bit further in a few minutes. But you can, if you want, attach the negative feelings to this image. You can, and this is what I did, and this is what I did with every single one of my exes, and it helps me tremendously in getting over it. I made a list. I told you I like making lists. I made a list of all the realistic stuff, the things that I have experienced with this person that I personally never, ever want to experience again. Really everything, every judgment, but realistic. Not, he's a narcissistic piece of shit when he's actually just been busy with something else and just was literally not ready for a relationship, right? I take the real stuff, what I've actually truly, really honestly experienced with this person, that just was against me. I don't like this. Like, whoa, you have an opinion there that, wow, that goes completely against my moral code, or this person cheated on me. Whoa, wow, that's something that I never want to experience again, right? So then I make a list of this person and the attached emotions that they created within me. And I'm going to get a little bit specific about Andrea's case. Going back in our history of coaching, I did read again what the situation was. And in her case, it was not an established relationship. It was a midterm dating. And the entire thing started from a point of, I don't actually trust him, right? In our very first communications, in our very first emails that I got from Andrea, she said that there was an image of a player attached to this person, that she could never actually really trust him. There had also been a history of this person ghosting her and being really disrespectful, right? Just like fucking off. And in the end, it was so that the guy, the dude, the person literally said, I don't want a relationship. It was the typical F-boy kind of thing where he would venture out serial dater style, having I don't know how many girls on the hook and engaging with them on a superficial surface level, but never actually taking the step of committing to anyone whatsoever. So these were the circumstances in which Andrea connected to this guy, right? And yes, we have to, in order for us to grow and also in order to create room for the other person to potentially develop and grow if they choose so, right? We have to create a favorable story around them in terms of, I need to be able, if I want you to be the best version of yourself, right? With the prospect, the potential that we may get together again in the future if we happen to be a match in our desires and in our aspirations for life, right? I need to give you the benefit of the doubt, and I need to be able to see you as somebody who is actually capable of doing that. I need to do this. If I truly, honestly want to recreate a relationship with this person, if I truly believe that, hey, what was at play here was actually a whole bunch of wounds, triggers, and insecurities that came. But aside from these wounds and triggers and whatnot, we are a great match, right? It's just like a good combination. It's like right person, wrong timing kind of situation. If you have that and you really feel like, hey, if I work on myself and they work on themselves, there is in the future the chance of us getting back together and actually having a really awesome relationship, maybe. Right? If you do this, you do have to take a step back and you do have to work through your own wounds, and you have to have them and an image of them, an opinion about them in the way where you see them able of doing that. You have to see them as capable of changing. You have to allow them the option to actually evolve, right? So this is where practices, exercises like deliberate purging, for instance, comes into play. The bigger, more important part of deliberate purging, where I just get everything out of my system, and then in the second step, I look, how the hell do I create this? Where is this a mirror of me? Because that's what the universe is. That's what your life is. It's a mirror of your authentic self, nothing else, right? So what aspect of me has created that encounter and that person to respond to me in that manner? This is actually the really big part, and this is the most valuable part, because then you see, oh, it's my wound, it's my daddy issue, it's my upbringing, it's maybe a residue baggage from my other relationship, my ex that was toxic and cheated on me and lied and betrayed me and whatnot, right? So you can have this as a baseline to really work on yourself and heal and whatnot. And then the third step would be to change the negative, the old story about the person, to a favorable story where you all of a sudden, instead of seeing them as an incapable F-boy who is immature and irresponsible, you then flip that to, Okay, yeah, he has been all of that. Okay, granted. But when it comes to our dynamic, how we interact with one another, there it takes two people to dance the tango, right? And I did my part. I enabled this behavior due to my crap, and I'm capable of changing, and I'm capable of growing and healing and evolving. So I'm going to grant this person the exact same ability to do so. And this is where you stop. This is really where you have a few affirmations towards them that are in their favor, where you train your brain to see the best potential in them, but it is still up to them to then fulfill that potential. It's not up to you. This is where your control over the other person and their development really fully just flat out stops, right? This is so important to know this. In order for this to really work for you, in order to have the right amount of detachment, the right amount of, hey, I do have favorable thoughts, I do see them in a good way, and I do see that there is a chance for us in the future to come back together and actually live the relationship that we both want, right? If you have this, and in order to really, for this to really work, you first have to now accept that this relationship is over. This dating is over. The situationship is over. This marriage is over. You need to move on from this state of, oh, but I really want them, into the state of, hey, I'm working on myself. And maybe if they really are the person that is matching me and matching my expectations for a relationship, they are going to do the same. And then we will get back together, or we will have an encounter. We will at the very least have the opportunity to do this, right? Or if they are not, then I will detach, I get over it, I move on, and I will actually line myself up with somebody who already is this, who has individually, independent from me, already worked on all of their issues and their wounds and their limitations and fears and whatnot, right? And their low self-concept. In order for this to work, you really have to accept that what is. The worst thing that you can do, and I know that consuming content like LO asshole stuff and tarot cards and stuff like that, I know that it makes it very hard to ever get to this point of closure, because you feel the lack, you get obsessed, you consume again, right? You watch videos of coaches telling whatever the hell it is that you want to hear in that moment, right? But they're not actually helping you. They're not actually telling you the facts of how it's really working. They're just like, if you believe, if you detach, if you don't need them anymore, then they will come back, as if it was law. It's not. It really is not. Because again, you don't have control over their free will, right? You only have control over how you see them. But you consume all of this, and what you're doing by this, you get stuck in this, I'm waiting for them. I am still dependent on them. I still have not figured out what I actually need to do to really live my best life for the sake of myself. I close the door to any other potential people out there that could swoop in and swoop me off my feet and be absolutely fucking perfect for me. I close the door to all of them, and you just keep yourself hostage in the space of hope. And in this case, hope is really, really bad for you, because it really keeps you from moving on. You have to accept that for now, this person and you are not together. And you also have to accept that the relationship, any form of relationship that you have experienced with them, whether it was a true full-on commitment, or it was just dating, or it was just somebody that you were interested in, you have to accept that this relationship that you have experienced was not healthy. If it was healthy, you would still be in it. This is so important to realize. If this person is meant for you, was meant for you, if they were your soulmate, if they were healthy, and if this was functional, this relationship would have not ended. You would have still be in this relationship, but you're not. And this gives you proof and evidence for this relationship, all that you have experienced, all of the ideas of, oh, this was the love of my life and whatnot, that your brain has started connecting to these feelings, right? So that you even have a chance to get obsessed with them. All of these things are actually not true. They're not true. It's really not true. Because the reality of this lived relationship experience with this other person was that we had 3 days of bliss, and maybe they are a great guy. Maybe your Timothy is fucking amazing. Maybe your Margaret is like super beautiful and cute and kind and adorable and loving and whatnot. But in the ways, in the areas where it fucking matters for you to be your partner and to be good for you and to be healthy together with you, they were lacking. They were not matching you, right? Another way of really understanding this is taking the person the way you have met them. When they presented to you, they showed you who they really are, and they showed you who they really are by acting, right? People will always tell you, show you very clearly who they really are. And the second somebody ghosts you, the second somebody is unwilling to communicate with you, the second somebody is unwilling to hear you out, the second somebody is only coming back for their own personal gain, but the second that you need something or you dare to voice a need, they are poof, gone, bye-bye, never to be seen again. When they show you these things, really be super honest with yourself and ask yourself, this person, the way that I have learned them, like got to know them, right? If I were to be with them, if I were to actually move in with him, her, whoever, if we were to get married, if we were to have kids and they would raise my kids, our kids together with me, is that the life that I want to live? All of these things that, because when somebody is not matching to you and we are insecure and people pleasing, what we usually do is we bend over fucking backwards to become the person that we think we need to be in order to serve them, to serve their needs and fulfill them, right? So we need to think, if I had to change myself into a different person, if I had to settle and accept all of their weird quirkiness, all of the things, all of the red flags in them, let's just pretend for a second that they will never change. This is who they are, and this is who they will be for fucking ever, right? It's a possibility. It's a big reality for the majority of people, right? So let's assume this is true. How much would I have to bend over backwards? How much would I have to change and become a different person for them? How much shit from them would I have to endure and suck up? And is this really the relationship that I want? And in 99.9% of those times, the answer is fuck no. Oh God, no. Because the relationship that I actually want is one where I am respected. I am valued for who I am and what I do on a day-to-day basis. I am liked. I am considered. I am appreciated, right? Not a person that has issues and then ghosts me, and then I need to be like, oh yeah, well, he has issues with his mommy and he's the wounded one, so I'm just gonna sit here, suck it up, pretend that I'm okay for the sake of not pushing his triggers, right? We really need to like think from that perspective as well. It's not enough to look at a problem just from one point of view and then make a decision and be like, I'm going to manifest this is the love of my life. It's not working like that, right? So what I did with literally every single one of my exes was make a list of the realistic him that he was, all of the Timothys and Jeremys and whatnot, right? Like really write down what I actually see this person to be. Like, what the fuck did he present himself to be to me? And then judge. Then use my free will and my ability to judge the living hell out of this and understand that, oh, that ain't for me. That really ain't for me. It makes sense that this had to fall apart, not just because of my insecurities and my bullcrap, but also because of his insecurities and his bullcrap and his wounds and his behavior. And at the very least, and this is something that every single one who's watching this video can almost 100%, I'm convinced, can say about themselves. At least I was the one who tried. At least I was the one who invested and tried everything for the sake of this relationship. They were not invested. They did not try everything. They just bailed. They fucked off, right? They dated somebody else and they keep dating other people and they keep spiraling while I'm here actually improving myself. And all of these things are tools for you to really start getting at least into the process of getting over the other person. And this is so fucking vital. Now, does that mean that you can never be with them? Absolutely fucking not. But you have to give them the space to be free to develop and show to you if their future version of them is actually a match to that what you want, right? You have to, from a conscious creator perspective, leave the circumstance that you do not like anymore. And you can only leave that bubble world circumstance by full on accepting it for what it is. Well, we are just incompatible. This person, this Jeremy, was not able to give me what I wanted. The joy, I felt like a piece of crap constantly. I felt not prioritized. I did not feel good. And in the end, Jeremy even fucking told me, I don't want a relationship. I want to be Peter Pan and live in La La Land forever. And it made me feel horrible, right? So maybe brain, connect this person to all the horrible goddamn feelings that I've had to live through, right? Instead of all the lovey-dovey shit that asshole people are trying to, I don't know, invade your brain with. The reality is that this relationship was not working. The reality is that you two were not meant to be together. The reality is that this relationship was meant to fall apart based on the conditions and circumstances that both parties have brought into this relationship. It was not sustainable. It had to fall apart. And whether it looked like them leaving you, breaking up with you, dumping you, going to somebody else, or you taking the responsibility and being like, okay, enough is fucking enough, right? That's not working for me and I will leave you right now. It doesn't matter how it actually happened, but the fact is it's over. It is over, and you have to leave it over. You have to move yourself out of this. You have to accept it. It's over. This is the circumstance, okay? This circumstance also creates a massive desire for that what you actually want. A good relationship. You don't actually want to be dependent on anyone for those feelings. You don't want to need chocolate to feel not depressed. You don't want to have this connection whatsoever, right? What you actually want is be happy and healthy and go lucky with yourself, and then have another person add to this. A person that is receptive towards all the good stuff that you have to give to them, and that is freely and willingly sharing their good stuff with you. This is what you actually want, right? And you have to get to this understanding that this is everything that I have experienced with this person is just not fucking fulfilling for me. And I have been hanging in this miserable land of hope and triggers and obsession and working on myself, and then really not working on myself, and then being like, again, infatuated with them, and then worrying and feeling like crap. And oh my God, you don't want to feel like that for the rest of your life. Like, really not. You don't want that. I don't want that for you. I also don't want that for myself. Duh. Nobody wants that. It's horrible. Right? So you need to understand this. This shit is over. Thereby, you have accepted the circumstance that final manifestation of all the reasons, all of your triggers, your insecurities, their insecurities, and whatnot. All of these things have manifested the experience of this relationship was shit. And now it's over. And now this final manifestation, conscious creator perspective, right, has happened. It's over. The movie is finished. Why the fuck are you still sitting in the theater bitching about the movie, trying to change the movie that you just saw? It's ended. It's done. We're over. It's done. Leave, right? Acceptance does that for you. And these tools will help you with getting to this place. And then you move the fuck on. You leave the fucking theater. Yeah, woo, that was a shit movie. And then you go do things that make you feel good. And then, and this is where the manifesting aspect comes in. Then, when you are stable and you have actually physically, mentally, emotionally left the circumstance, this theater, of crap, then you can revisit this entire thing and be like, okay, is this person flat out in their essence not suitable for me? Yes or no? Am I actually truly in love with them, or did I fall into limerence due to an idea or a potential that I saw in them? It's an important question to ask. Do I actually like them? Like as a person? Would I, if they were ugly, right? If they were not my type, would I actually deem them to be a really good person? Would I be a really good friend with them? Would I consider them to be a really good friend for me? It's an important question to ask. Would our lifestyles and our values, do they actually match? Like all of these questions, ask yourself these. They are so freakishly important to have the answers and the awareness around this. And should you come to the conclusion that actually, the reason why it fell apart was really stupid insecurities and really stupid things that are not lasting forever, that are things that if I work on my self-concept and if I work on myself and heal myself, and they are doing the same, as always, they also have to do the work. It cannot be one side. It's not working like that. But if we both work individually, apart from one another, on these things, then we can actually have a really good shot here. If you come to this conclusion, then congratulations. This is how you manifest a specific person back without going through the crap, without going through the headaches and the heartbreaks and the devastations and whatnot. And this is where it's enough to see them in this favorable light of they are a good match, they are my type, we do fit perfectly together, and they have the ability, because I've already seen that they have a tendency to want to improve themselves, right? If you have all of this going on, a few thoughts towards this person is enough. It really is. But if you come to the conclusion that this is actually not really truly that what you wanted, and that you really struggle with bringing yourself into even seeing them as somebody who would be able to be an adult, loving human person, potential father or mother of your future children, stuff like that. If you struggle with this, then it's simply your entire system telling you, nope, it's not that, it's not it. And then the reason why you got obsessed with them in first place is due to massive limerence, is due to love addiction, is due to your healings or your wounds that need to be healed, is due to your issues you have from this anxious existence because some asshole has taught you in some point in time that you're incapable of doing it alone, or that you're not enough, or that there is only one guy, and when you met this one guy or this one girl, you need to dig your nails into them, because even though we have almost 8 billion people on this planet, there is only one for you, and there will never ever be the same one. If you come from the tarot card bullshit, then I can guarantee you that the thought of twin flames has crossed your mind before, right? If you sense this, if you realize actually they are not a good person, like not according to my judgment, not according to my standards. And actually, I myself, when I got hooked on them, was also not in a good place, like really not. And Andrea, in your case, to go back to your letter, you were not in a good place. And you know this. You started this dating situationship with this person from the place of, I don't trust them. They are an F-boy. They have a really shitty history. I do not feel comfortable with them. Always ask yourself, how do they actually make me feel? Not just how do I feel about them? Because if you are not healed, if you're not healthy, and if you still have really severe wounds from your childhood, acting and kind of like being the puppet master in the background of your life, if you have all of this going, it's not really reality how you feel about something. It's reality how the something is gonna make you feel. And in your specific case, going through the history of our coaching, seeing where you were at, seeing with what you're struggling right now, and knowing your background and all of this, you are a classic case of somebody who needs to realize when they need to stop investing into something. And for that, I invite you to go back to my last live stream that I called something along the lines of when to stop investing and letting go. I explained in that live stream very clearly how you can, at least for yourself, figure out and determine when enough is enough. In your case, knowing all of these things, as your coach, I tell you, consider that enough is enough. And consider, because I also know that you have a history of being obsessed with this kind of content, really consider asking yourself, why the hell am I still in this community of law of assumption? And now law of attraction is not that bad, but why am I still in this toxic community? Why am I still consuming this content? One of the very first sentences in your very first email to me was, I am guilty of binge watching this content. And the way I see it right now is that you're still at least have a tendency to do this, right? So really see the warning signs in your own life and take the hints of your brain that what you are doing here is you are starving yourself of love, of connection, of joy, of freedom, and of all of the good things, and of all the possible really awesome dudes who would really suit you well and you could have a fantastic relationship with, for the sake of being stagnant, holding on to, clinging on to hope. Ask yourself, do I really deserve this? Is this really the purpose of my life, to deal with this? Or have I maybe gained everything that I could gain out of the situation for myself? Because I also know that, and I saw this in coaching with you, you really give a shit about yourself. You really do. You really want to feel good for your sake, for the sake of yourself, right? For the sake of feeling good. You came to me being like, I want it to be sustainable. Now I want to feel good. I want to live my life. And even in this email, in this letter that you sent me, you somewhere in there mentioned it too. How can I just live my life again? You want that. You already have this desire to do this. The last thing that's really missing right now from you, for you, is from you, for you. That was not a mistake. That was on purpose, but I said it weirdly. So last thing that is missing is really the closure around this relationship being over and done with, and the steps that you need to take to process that, to heal the broken heart, to get over this person, right? And you have done a tremendous amount of work on yourself already. This video will help you to do even more for yourself, because now you know, oh, when my brain goes SP, 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 all I need to do is a little self-love. Okay, thank you. That's amazing, right? So once you take these steps to really get over this person, oh my God, you're going to feel so different. And then you have the freedom and the clarity to really make a decision, him yeah or him nah. You can then decide, but you need to get there first. You need to, I think Lemon's barfing in the background. Incredible. The sound effects that I have today. Beautiful. But you need to first accept and understand. And I know it's fucking hard. I know that. I know that. Trust me, I know that. Been there, done that. But you need to first accept the reality the way it is before you can start even attempting to create something new with the old, with the freaking dinosaur, right? For now, it's a dinosaur. It's dead. It's gone. It's poof. Okay. Now, Beanie is saying, not really, not really high. Ouch. Sharp ass claws. Yeah. I hope Beanie would say hi, but she didn't. So yeah, that's it. You need to understand that this dinosaur is dead and gone. It's over. It used to be, it was cool, awesome, but now we're done. And then get over it. And once you're over it, once you're stable, then you evaluate the person for who he is, right? And then you can be like, do I actually really want him or not? And if the answer is yes, then you know what to do. And if the answer is no, you're just going to let it go and make a little list, another list, because we like doing lists. Make a little list of who you actually want to be with. And you can take all of the good qualities of this dude, right? He was charming and he's pretty, has a nice butt. You can bring all of those qualities that have been good into this list, just like leave out all of the negative ones, and then manifest somebody new. Or manifest the experience of meeting somebody new, because you don't actually manifest a person. They exist already. They're here, right? Okay, that's it. Not that loud, don't worry, it's just funny. Yeah, it's also smelly. I sniff it. It's an open. It's the only open litter box that I have. And of course, Fabi's going to take a huge dump in there. But yeah. Okay, well, if it's not that loud, then I can just leave it in. I don't know. Maybe I'm going to edit this, maybe not. Who cares? That's it for now. Hey, thanks to Peppy, I did not stay under an hour, but that's okay too. Next month, same thing. Different letter, different person. Again, if you want to participate, shoot me an email with the subject, letter to Nis, and then barf it all out, and I'm going to take care of you. Okay? Love you. Thanks for hanging out, and bye.